It's September, which means that it's finally summer in San Francisco. And with summer comes the season of bathing suits. That's right, it's the season of these tiny little pieces of fabric that we put on our bodies and strut our stuff around by pools, at the beach. The season of bathing suits for me has made me realize how much I freaking hate bathing suits. I said it, okay, there we go. It's off my chest. I feel like I have bathing suit anxiety. Like, I don't know if that's a thing. I'm pretty sure that's not in the DSM. Bathing suit anxiety is definitely not in the DSM. But I think I have it. I think I have a pretty rough relationship with bathing suits. Even though I have been a very fit, healthy person my whole entire life, the amount of pressure that I feel when I am wearing one of these is crazy. There have been times where it's been very liberating. I went on an amazing surf trip to El Salvador and I was in a bathing suit all day and I felt very connected to my body. I was surfing all the time, I was in the water, and like that was incredible. And bathing suits felt wonderful and fantastic there. But I've also had completely other experiences, like going to a pool party and feeling so uncomfortable in a bathing suit. And I just want to have a conversation about how vulnerable it is to wear a bathing suit, because I don't think anyone's talking about that. I feel like we just assume that wearing a bathing suit is like a very normal thing. You start wearing bathing suits when you're really young and you wear bathing suits when you're really old, and it feels very normal. But I just want to emphasize, like, this isn't a lot of fabric. This really isn't that much fabric whatsoever. And especially for women, when we are covered by two tiny little pieces of triangle and pretty much a thong on the bottom, we're so exposed. And also we have the pressure of looking hot and sexy. I feel like bathing suits have this cocktail of being extremely vulnerable and extremely exposed while also having to put on this air of confidence, being sexy, being attractive. And that's just like really hard to do. It's a lot of pressure. And I feel like no one really talks about the pressure of bathing suits. So that's what we're here to do today. I needed that. Cool myself down. I'm getting a little heated. One of the main things that brought my bathing suit anxiety to mind was that I was talking with my therapist about a pool party I went to, and in my memory of it, I am viewing my body from the outside. I have this memory of me walking down this little sidewalk. Walking down this little sidewalk to the pool after going to the restroom, and I'm not in my body in my own memory. I'm outside of my body viewing myself walk down the sidewalk. For me, that is a sign of being dissociated and having a traumatic memory. That may not be the case for everyone, but for me, I've noticed that in a lot of my emotionally loaded, emotionally triggering memories, that I am often dissociated from my body in the memory. So when I was talking to my therapist about this and I realized that my memory is stored in a way where I am viewing myself from the outside, I was like, okay, I got to do some work here. This seems like is a very important place for me to focus on. Going a layer deeper, I'm viewing myself from the outside and I'm viewing myself in a very critical way. And I just have this memory of feeling like big and bloated and just yucky in a bathing suit and so uncomfortable, which is so different than my experience when I was on the surf trip and I felt capable, I felt embodied, I felt present. All of my memories from that trip, I remember from being in my body because I was in my body. But at this pool party, I was dissociated, I was activated, and I just wanted to escape my body. So what do we do about this? What do we do about bathing suit anxiety? How do we heal our relationship with bathing suits? How do we build a sense of comfort and confidence while we're walking around in the smallest amount of material that's socially acceptable. Crazy. I mean, it's essentially a bra and underwear. And we can't go around wearing bra and underwear, but we're allowed to wear, it's socially condoned to wear bathing suits. So interesting. Also, I'm gonna pause on the bathing suit anxiety piece and just wanna mention how messed up it is that women have to pay $70 for a top and $70 for a bottom when it's literally the least amount of fabric of any pieces of clothing that we buy. That's crazy. I can't believe bathing suits are like minimum $140 these days for top and bottom. I think that's just outrageous and maybe contributes to more of my dislike of bathing suits. I will hop off my soapbox of bathing suit capitalism and I will put that to the side for a moment and focus more so on the healing of our relationships with bathing suits. And I think what's important to point out here is that in healing our relationship with bathing suits, I think we have to heal our relationship with our own body. I feel like an important part of this is healing my relationship with bathing suits without forcing my body to look a different way. I don't think healing my relationship with bathing suits comes from me losing weight. I think that the wound will always be there, even if I lose weight or if I change my body, if I look stronger, if I look skinnier, all of these things. I think my bathing suit anxiety will still be there because I have these memories of being dissociated, being traumatized by being in bathing suits around other people where I didn't feel comfortable. So for me, healing isn't about changing my body, but actually tending to my relationship with my body as it is, with no changes. I think my goal here is to feel confident in bathing suits without altering my body to do so. So how do we start healing our relationship with bathing suits and our body? I am not completely healed. I am not speaking from a place of being completely healed, but I have noticed some things that have helped me get more comfortable with wearing bathing suits and start hating them a little bit less. So I'm here to share them with you. The first piece to keep in mind is which scenarios you feel comfortable in and which scenarios you don't feel comfortable in. So I have the first example of a surf trip where I felt really comfortable in a bathing suit. I felt like I wasn't being looked at as a sexual object. I was just there to enjoy my body, enjoy the ocean, be with my friends, and that I think helped create a really comfortable place for me to be vulnerable and in a bathing suit. Compared to a pool party, which feels like a watering hole of all of these animals coming together, looking at each other, sexually objectifying each other, seeing who's hot, who's not. Like the pressure of that environment really made me collapse and made me very uncomfortable in a bathing suit. There are two very different scenarios. So my suggestion is figure out which scenarios you feel comfortable in and which scenarios you feel maybe more pressure, you feel like you're collapsed more. We may not be able to completely remove the events in our life that are a little bit less comfortable, but what we can at least do is notice in those experiences where we're in a bathing suit, we're uncomfortable, we feel like we're being looked at in particular ways by other people, we feel like we're being judged, just take a moment and acknowledge that the environment you're in is making you feel a particular way about your body. That helps so much because it makes it contextualized and it also helps bring awareness to the environmental consequences. You aren't feeling that way because you're bad, because you're ugly, because you look bad in bathing suits. You're feeling that way because you're very vulnerable in a bathing suit in an environment that makes you feel a little bit less comfortable and embodied. The second piece is to start building a friendship with your body outside of the experiences of wearing bathing suits. The more of a foundation we can create of loving and accepting our bodies unconditionally, that will help build resilience in these situations where we feel more vulnerable and more pressure from external sources. For me, that looks like self-massage, that looks like doing a mirror detox, that looks like journaling and drawing, For me, all of those avenues help me be more embodied and be more comfortable in my own skin. And also seeing a somatic therapist has helped quite a bit as well, because I've gotten more comfortable being in my body rather than escaping to my head to avoid the feelings of my body. My next recommendation is for anyone else who feels particularly vulnerable when wearing bathing suits. It's understandable because it's a very vulnerable thing to do. Nearly all of your skin is exposed and visible to the public, which means that we might have to take more time to protect and boundary ourselves in other ways. So when we put on our bathing suits and we go out to the beach or out to a pool party, one thing that you can think about is creating an energetic field, a little boundary around yourself, so that you feel a little bit more protected from people's stares, people energetically leaking onto you, and you can also hold your own energy within you as well. One meditation that I really love for this is imagining that you are surrounded by a little egg, and you can zip up the egg and protect yourself in the little energetic egg, and also visualize the egg getting a little bit thicker to create a little energy bubble around you when you're going out into public places when you're feeling vulnerable and exposed. This also applies to other instances where you may not actually be wearing a bathing suit, but you're going out doing something and feeling maybe a little bit more vulnerable and sensitive. You can also imagine that little egg around you and create it to be a little bit thicker and a little bit thicker to basically send out any bad juju and have it bounce off of you, rather than letting people's eyes, judgments, perspectives, bad energy land on you when you're in a vulnerable position. Finally, my last recommendation is something that I did with my therapist in session. I was preparing to go on a river trip and be in a bathing suit, and I was feeling really anxious about it. Bathing suit anxiety. I was feeling anxious. I was feeling critical, judgmental, not feeling good in my body. And my therapist had me close my eyes, imagine being in that space at the river and being in a bathing suit, and then slowly expand my awareness to be outside of my body, connected with the trees, connected with the water, connected with the plants. And all of a sudden, my bathing suit anxiety just fizzled. It evaporated. And this kind of makes sense because bathing suit anxiety is probably fairly tied up with my ego. Do I look good? Do I not look good? Am I accepted? Am I not accepted? All of that is based on the illusion of us being separate and being individuals, compartmentalized little islands in this world. And what this meditation with my therapist really helped with was expanding my awareness to be in connection with everything else around me. And it helped me diffuse my ego. It helped me diffuse the anxiety by feeling that inner connection and expansiveness. All of a sudden, my bathing suit anxiety seemed so small, and I felt the joy, the connection, the pleasure of being connected with the wider web of the world. And that helped so much. This also helps in the moment. It doesn't have to be a visualization before going into something. While you're in the moment, if you're feeling that collapsed feeling, I know at that pool party, I felt so collapsed. I felt anxious. I felt like my brain was getting even smaller and shrinking. And I imagine that if I had this meditation at that pool party, I could have, in the moment, expanded my awareness to be connected with the people at the party, to be connected with the trees, be connected with the world around me. And I think that would have helped counteract some of that collapsing that comes with my form of anxiety. So I'm curious to hear what your relationship with bathing suits is like. Do you enjoy being in a bathing suit? Are you confident at all times? Are there certain scenarios where you feel a little less confident, maybe more collapsed? What are the triggers for bathing suit anxiety? Is there anything that's helped you feel more confident and comfortable in your body? Definitely comment below. I'd love to have a conversation about bathing suit anxiety, how it shows up, who it shows up for. Also, if you're a guy watching this, I'm curious, do you have bathing suit anxiety? I kind of assume that it's probably just for women given the nature of how small our bathing suits are, I'm sure this probably applies to every person, regardless of their gender identity, and I'm curious to hear your perspective. I'm curious what this conversation's brought up for you, if you feel like you also have bathing suit anxiety, when you feel it shows up, when you don't feel it shows up. Has there been anything that's helped you be more confident in bathing suits? Do you have any hot takes about the bathing suit industry like I do? Like, it's way too freaking expensive. I feel like we're paying more for the fabric that's not there than the fabric that is there, and I think that's ridiculous. But regardless, let me know. Let me know how this lands with you, and if you have any comments or thoughts about how we can heal our relationships with bathing suits without forcing our bodies to be different. If you've made it this far, I so appreciate that you're here. I'm so excited that you are on this journey with me of healing our relationships with our bodies, healing our relationship with bathing suits, and starting conversations around some of these things that aren't talked about that I feel like we really should be addressing more often in our public discourse. And for this bathing suit season, just know that I'm with you. I love you regardless of how a bathing suit looks on your body, whatever shape or size your body is. And I am just really appreciative of your company on this journey to befriend and love our bodies. Until next time. Mwah.